things I wanted to cover today, one of the things I wanted to talk about was about how to make the most of the time you have, because so often we're running around like headless chickens, and it's really difficult to actually just sort of find that extra half an hour that you want to be able to do the things that you really want to do. And one of the things that we all find challenging is just finding those extra hours, finding those extra minutes, because there just aren't enough hours in the day. Now, I'm going to tell you a secret here. We all have the same 24 hours. None of us get more, none of us get less. We all get 24 hours in a day. And I completely forgot to introduce myself for anybody that's new, that hasn't seen me before. My name is Jenny Rock, and I am from Jenny Rock Coaching, and I am a certified mastery coach. So I focus specifically on ladies that are leaving abusive relationships, and I help them to rebuild their courage and their confidence and their self-esteem so that they can face whatever they need to face, knowing that they can weather any storm. So I kind of make them bulletproof. But I digress. Making enough time. Now, normally, there are what we call breakdowns. Now, a breakdown is when something should happen, doesn't happen. Something we want to happen doesn't happen, and then we kind of we're a victim of the circumstances, and we blame everything on the circumstances. Now, in reality, there are four main reasons why we end up with not enough time. And the first one would be not making a decision. And it doesn't matter what that decision is. That decision could be what we're having for dinner. That decision could be who's taking the kids to the park. That decision could be, are we having sausages or fish fingers for tea? It doesn't matter what the decision is. We're not making it. So the first breakdown quite often is a lack of decision making, and not being decisive can waste hours every day. And sometimes we don't make a decision because we're scared. We're scared of the outcome, because we don't want to get it wrong, because we've been told forever and a day, for all time, we've been told that failure is not acceptable. When in reality, when we fail, all that's doing is telling us that something doesn't work, and maybe we need to try a different route. It's not a failure, it's feedback. So whatever decision we make, if we cook sausages for dinner and the kids don't like it, well, we'll know for next time, won't we? They're not going to die if they just have chips and beans for tea and they don't eat the sausages. The dog will eat them. But do you get what I'm saying here is that lack of decision making can lose hours out of your week. And sometimes just making a decision, any decision, just make a decision like that. Just make that decision, and you will find that whatever the result, whether it be the result you wanted or the result that you didn't want, you will get feedback. So you will either learn a lesson or you will have a success, one or the other. Okay? Now, the second thing too, sorry, I'm tracking some kind of cable here and it's pulling the laptop around. The second reason that we might not be making the most out of our time would be a lack of energy. And that means not applying the level of energy required to achieve the end result. So when you are lacking in energy, it is often caused by your emotions, and your emotions dictate quite often your energy state. So if you're feeling like, what's the point? It's not going to work. It's never going to work for me. It always fails. Why would it be, why would it work for me when it doesn't work for anybody else? When you're approaching things from a really negative state, that's what we call a primitive emotion. And what you put in is what you will get back. So if you are feeling negative and you are feeling like, what's the point? I'm trying trying to think of an example. I've got this exam and I'm going to fail it anyway. Well, the chances are that you probably will fail it because you're not approaching it with the right attitude. And attitude comes from your energy, and your energy comes from your emotion. So if you approach it with, do you know what? Whatever happens, I'm going to give it my best shot. Yeah. If you approach it with, this is important to me, I'm going to make it work. Yeah. If you approach it with that kind of determination and level of demand, I suppose, you know, you want this determination. I want this to happen. I want this to work. I want this to be achieved. If you approach it from that perspective, then quite often you will get the positive result out of the situation because you have approached it the right way with the right input. So you put in positive confidence, determination, you will get out a good result. If you put in negativity, if you put in just that whole I'm not good enough, I'm not clever enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not anything enough, you will get out a bad result. It's as simple as. The third reason would be not taking meaningful action. Now, quite often we call this analysis paralysis. You don't take action because you're so overwhelmed by the choices available. And that comes back to not making a decision. And that also comes back to not going at it with a positive attitude. So you can see how these things kind of layer up on top of each other, can't you? When you are not taking action, that normally means you're procrastinating. So that means that you are, you're just overwhelmed. You're just not making a decision. And you have to make a decision to be able to move forward. And if you don't make decisions, you are going to lose hours every week because you are not making decisions. So what if you choose the blue car and not the yellow car? It's not the end of the world, you know? So you choose that the kid does go on the school trip or they don't go on the school trip. Whichever you choose, just make a decision. Just do whatever you need to do. Make that decision. I'm just going to try adjusting my light here because it feels like I'm very very weirdly coloured. I don't know. It'll be what it will be. As long as you can see me and hear me, that's all that matters. And then if you are multitasking, you're not focusing. So if you are multitasking everything, you're not focusing on any of it. So what you need to do is basically say, no, I'm going to focus on this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. And you need to allocate time for each thing that you are multitasking on, because you cannot do everything at once. There are times when you can maybe cross two things off your list at once, like I need to go for a run and I need to walk the dog. Well, take the dog on a run with you. You know, that's fine. If you can FaceTime your mum while you're cooking dinner, or even FaceTime your mum with you and the kids at the table and you all eat dinner together. Win, you know, you're getting more done. But trying to cook a meal with one hand and draft out a contract with another is not going to work. So focus on those things. The last one, number 4, is struggling to produce meaningful results. So that comes back to not making a decision. That comes back to the emotional state with which you approach it. And that comes back to not focusing. It all stacks together. And if you don't take action, you're not going to get any results. Either way, anyway, any which way, you're not going to get any results. So you have to take action to be able to get results. And if you don't take action to get results, you're not going to get any feedback from the market. not from the market, but you're not going to get any feedback from maybe your family or your employer if you don't take action. And we all want to do good. We all want to be, classed as respected. We all want to be accepted as good at something. But that doesn't happen unless we actually do that thing. So it's about being decisive. So if I kind of list them again, so lacking making decisions, not applying the energy, not taking meaningful action, and struggling to produce meaningful results. And all 4 of them link back to your core belief system. And your core belief system is your identity. That's your thought patterns. That's how you view the world, how you look at things. And when you are approaching things from a negative situation, then you're likely to get negative results. When you approach things from a positive situation, you're likely to get positive results. So you need to just generate the emotion. You have to kind of, approach things with the determination and the attitude that you will achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. Because anything is possible. You can build a business. You can change a job. You can move house. You can do whatever you want to do, providing you put the time and attention to achieve it. And you have to put the work in. And it takes time and it takes commitment. And would you rather watch TV and eat a box of Maltesers, or would you rather spend an hour working on on something that's going to get you that promotion, or something that's going to take a weight off you for tomorrow when you've got a busy day? It's all about strategy. It's all about planning ahead. And some of the things that I wanted to kind of share with you was there's a thing called the 80-20 principle. It's also called Pareto law, or the Pareto principle. It had to happen. Come on, guys. You knew it had to happen at some point that I would lose my ability to speak. That was my moment. So the Pareto principle is the 80-20 rule. So 80% of your results are driven by 20% of your actions. Now let me say that again. I'll say it the other way around. 20% of your actions provide 80% of your results. So what's happening with the other 80% of the action that you could have done? Where's it gone? It's been lost. It's been lost to procrastination. It's been lost to negativity. It's been lost to faffing. It's been lost to distraction, And you guys are busy. You guys are busy mums. You guys are busy people. You've got jobs. You've got kids. You've got careers. You've got all these things going on. And who doesn't need an extra 5 hours a day? Whether it be to sleep, or whether it be to work, or whether it be to do stuff around the house. You get what you pay attention to. And there's a saying that where focus goes, energy flows. So wherever you put your focus, that's where the energy goes. But you get to choose where you put your focus. That is a choice that you have. You may wish to disagree, but that is a choice. And there's another theory called Parkinson's law, which is that work expands to fill the time allotted. So if you've been given a task to do at work that should take an hour, but you've been given 5 hours to do it, guess how long it's going to take you to achieve it? 5 hours. Yeah, it's going to be 5 hours before it's done, because your work will expand. That's Parkinson's law. That's, if you give yourself an hour to do it, it will only take an hour. So Parkinson's law dictates that work will expand to encompass all of the time allotted to actually achieving that task, because people will just go slower. And there's another theory called the glass jar theory. So if you imagine you've got rocks and pebbles and sand, and they've all got to fit in this glass jar. So the rocks equal your big critical things that need doing. Your pebbles are your slightly less critical but still important things that need doing. And your sand is just the kind of like, as and when kind of things that need doing. Now, if you start off by putting the sand in the jar first and then the pebbles, there won't be enough room for the rocks. Guaranteed. There will not be enough room for the rocks. You can go and get pebbles and rocks and sand and give it a try. There will not be enough room for the rocks. If you put the rocks in first and fit the pebbles around them and then tip the sand over, you will fit it all in the jar. Okay? So the principle from there is you deal with your rocks first. You deal with your big, important, critical stuff first. Then you move on to your smaller stuff that's still critical, still important, but not quite as important as your rocks, okay? And then you do your sand. Then you do your little things, your little tasks, like folding the laundry or, putting stuff away. So that's the glass jar method that we quite often talk about. And there's another thing that you could try called brain dumping. And quite often people find this really helpful, that you basically sit down and you free write. You just get a piece of paper and a pen and you just write out everything that's in your head for two reasons. And the two reasons are that you write them down to get them out of your head so that they're not swirling around and around and around in there. And the second reason that you do it is because you can then start to make a list and you can then separate your rocks from your pebbles, from your sand. And you can then, if you did this every Sunday night with your rocks, your pebbles and your sand, brain dumped everything that you had going on for the week, look at your schedule, look at your calendar, just get everything out, get it all down there, you could then schedule your week and know that on Monday you've got to do this, on Tuesday you're doing that and that, on Wednesday you've got this, on Thursday you've got to get that finished, Friday no responsibilities, beach day with the kids. Do you know what I mean? There is ways and means of doing everything, but a lot of the time we do things the same way that we've always done them, and we expect to get a different result, and that doesn't happen, and then we wonder why. But it's because we're not doing anything different. So to get a different result, we have to do something differently. So my message to you today is that if you want to get a different result, if you want to have more time in your day, if you want to be able to have more time to do the things that you love, then you need to start looking at strategies to help you.